And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Over the next hour, we unfold your map to financial freedom. You'll learn how to retire through investing in single-family and multifamily real estate. You'll learn how to create cash flow and build wealth so you can have the time and money to live the lifestyle you want.
Welcome to the show. This is Andy Webb with Lifestyles Unlimited. And as always, we're working on your financial freedom. And hey, let's get hustling. Literally, let's take a look at the side hustle, the side gig, the side job. Lots of people have those, but most people are pursuing pretty ineffective side gigs. I want to take a look at that and kind of explore this idea with you. You've probably heard that term a lot lately, haven't you? Side hustle. In particular, it's the use has picked up a little more broadly, especially after the Great Recession, mid 2010, 2014, around in that time when people were simply trying to do more to make ends meet. Now, it's a far older expression, though. If you go to Merriam-Webster, it came back in the in broader use in the 1950s, both to describe scams, right? That's that hustle part of it, as well as legitimate jobs. So people were doing side jobs even back then. But these days, again, it's a very trendy term, side hustle, and lots of people are out there hustling these days trying to make some extra cash. I'll tell you what the average monthly amount is. It's not that much. You might be surprised. I'll get to that here in just a little bit. But do you have a side hustle? I do. It's this radio show, sort of. It's a creative outlet for me, and it lets me talk with you about something that I enjoy, something I really believe in, and I just have a good time getting to do this once a week with you. Now, my main source of income these days, it is passive, and it does come from my real estate investments. But once upon a time, as we were just nascent in this business, my wife and I just beginning to build our single-family rental portfolio, this real estate business was my side hustle. At the very beginning, I had a full-time corporate job. She had a full-time corporate job, but we did what we needed to do to get going down this path of very effective side hustle, so to speak. And what a difference it has made in my life. We'll get to that later in the show and how the right side hustle, real estate, right, can set you apart from your peers and really change your life as well. And case in point, by the way, I'm coming to you today from the RV bunker out in East Texas on the few acres where we keep this thing parked, just out in the woods. Thanks to that very early side hustle and the way that our passive income has grown and grown again and doubled and tripled and quadrupled and whatever comes after that over a decade or so. By the way, do the words passive and hustle even belong together in the same sentence? I'm not so sure about that, but we'll talk more. What I want to do is I want to start by looking at just who has side hustles out there right now, side jobs, what they're doing, and when they're doing it. That's an interesting proposition. And of course, why. I think that's very important. Why are they doing it? Why are you doing it? And we'll talk about how they and you could be more effective in this space, in this side hustle space with real estate. Now, my main sources, these are very recent. You can check these out. One is from bankrate.com. They did a survey from April 26th to 28th of 2023 that explored this very question. And also there's an article I'll point to on Insider, and it summarizes actually a deeper survey, a deeper study that Deloitte does regularly. In this case, it's called the 2023 Gen Z and Millennial Survey. So they're just looking at those two cohorts. Man, just reading through the executive summary of this whole survey, I could do a whole show on what I found there. But just a piece of that looks at the notion of the side gig as well. So we're going to shelve the broader picture there for Gen Z and Millennial and just focus on the side jobs. That Insider article, by the way, if you want to check that out, is called "Why Gen Zers and Millennials Are Looking for Second Jobs." And there they don't try to make it pretty by calling it a side hustle. Side hustle sounds good, I guess, in these days, that trendy term. It's just a second job is all it is. And that came out on June 3rd, 2023. So both of these main data sources for me are very, very recent. So who's out there doing this stuff? Who's side hustling? And what are they doing? And when? And it's interesting, it is really predominantly that younger cohort, that Gen Z and millennials that are more more focused in this space. It's very popular among those younger Americans. It says 53% of Gen Z, and again, that's ages 18 to 26, 53% of that cohort, and 50% of millennials, and they are doing these side gigs to earn extra income on the side of their main job. My cohort, Gen X, 43 to 58, and we're at about 40%, still a good number. That's 2 and 5 of us are out there with our side gigs. And as you get older, baby boomers, 24%, 59 to 77 years of age, not quite so prevalent in this space. Maybe you're probably in that cohort that does have a pension, in addition to the Social Security, all the other stuff, perhaps. Along gender lines, by the way, men are more likely to be doing a side hustle than women. 43% of men versus 35% of women. So I just want to set the table with that, just to give you an idea when we're talking through this, who out there are doing these things. And just what are they doing? I did get a laugh out of some of these, and I'm looking at time.com here. 30 best side hustles to earn extra cash in 2023. First one off the list. Now, I could go for this. You can't see it, but I've got a Lifestyles Unlimited cup here in my right hand full of coffee. What's their suggestion? Make coffee, become a barista. Sounds like a second job to me. Deliver food, right? DoorDash, Uber. I've had applicants for my rental properties that have a main job and have this very side job, right? Delivering food, delivering groceries, start a blog. I have a lot of friends in the RV space, actually, virtual folks that travel a lot and do a lot of blogs, and they'll tell you the time it takes to get a blog monetized, in other words, to where it's actually bringing in just a small amount of cash. It takes a lot of commitment. Be very careful there, just as an aside. Tutor online. Sure, tutor in person. Take online surveys. What? I don't know what that's about. Style hair. You can't see me. If you could see my hair, you'd say, Andy, stay away from that one. Makeup artist, not my gig either. Rent out your car. I don't trust you. Rent out your RV. Yeah, there are websites kind of like Airbnb where you can do this very thing. Again, I have a trust issue there. I'm not going to let you pull my RV behind your truck, car, or whatever you have, but that's an option. Buy and resell stuff, right? There's some definite hustle there. Handyman work around your, hey, that might be one in my vein. I've learned I'm pretty handy over the years of doing this rental stuff, but no, I don't really want babysitting. No, thank you. Dog sitting. I do like dog walking. Right? There are all kinds of things out here. It's interesting as I scroll down, am I going to find real estate investing? I don't see it. I see clean houses. I see handyman work on houses. Other freelancer doesn't talk about real estate at all. And the others that I glanced at did not touch upon this topic either. But give that a look. It gives you some ideas. Maybe you do need some additional income. This might be a place to go. The what is it that people are out there doing? When are people finding time for this? Well, if this is a side job, they inherently have a main job. So when must they be doing this? After hours, on weekends, late into the night. In fact, that same Time article, if you scroll down below their list of possible side hustles, side gigs, they do some rough math, and they say, hey, if you allocate 5 hours every Saturday and every Sunday, you'll get to about 40 hours per month in addition to your main. Do you really want to do that? I don't. Now, I'm not working anymore, so I'm Monday, Tuesday, it's a blur for me. It's all the same, with the exception of my 6-year-old swim schedule and everything else going on with him. But when you're already putting in 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours a week, do you really want to do another 10 on top of that on the weekend? Now, some people may actually be doing this parallel to their current job, right? We've got those remote work structures out there. Those in part are fueling this trend as well. And what that means is they may be working on their side gig during their main gig, meaning during the regular work hours. Yeah, you can do that. You might get away with it. I do think that might be worth a second thought. That might be a little risky. What happens if you then lose? You get busted. You're not putting up the work you need to do on that main job. And what if you lose that main source of income? Give that some thought. Be very careful there. But you got to squeeze it in somewhere. And from talking to people, and again, I mentioned some of my applicants that I've had over the years, they do these very things. And I ask, when are you doing this stuff? And I'm never home. I'll take good care of your rental house. I'm never home. I'm out running around delivering food, Uber Eats and DoorDash, and late into the night. Now, why are they doing it? Why give up so much of your time? And this is where the bankrate.com article gets interesting. They asked as part of their survey, their question was, on average, how much income would you say you earn in a month from your side hustle? I think this sets the bar for us. On average, the average is $810 a month, so $200 a week. It's interesting because the spread goes from anywhere, they've categorized this, it goes anywhere from $1 to $50, that's a bucket, 51 to 100, etc., all the way up to more than 2,000. There's a bucket for 1,000 to 2,000. These higher dollar numbers are pulling the average up. The average is $810 per month, but get this. The biggest bucket of all of these is that $1 to $50 bucket. 28% of respondents said that's what I'm bringing in per month. How much time are you spending to bring in an extra $50? When I was in college, I would sell plasma and sit in the chair with a high gauge needle sticking out of my arm and read my textbooks. I guess that was unbeknownst to me, my side gig back then. That got me into that, almost to that $50 bucket. Maybe too much information there, but I guess that could be on the list of top 30 things for you to do as well. But the point is this: $810, not really the true average when 30%, close to 30% are making $50 or less. When I read that, it doesn't seem so viable to me any longer. Now, why are people working to get to this $800? Predominantly, it's their reasons are financial in nature. And here too, Bankrate did a good job. They've got a graphic here. By and large, 33% need the income to pay for regular living expenses, meaning they're living paycheck to paycheck as it is, and they need these extra side gigs just to get by. Fully a third of those that are doing a side hustle. What's a little more depressing is that, I don't have the stat here, I think it was around 40% of people said that they expect to always have to do this side hustle or something similar just to get by. 40% of those that are in this space already. Now, moving down the list, it gets a little bit more loose, I suppose. Discretionary income for spending. About a third of the people are looking for right, I'm saving up for a vacation. I want another, I don't know, maybe I want to get that motorcycle, right? So they're saving up for discretionary income to spend on things that they don't have to have. Income for savings, 25%. Debt payoff. Some people are looking to pay off debt at 12%, right? So there's certain financial reasons why people do this. The Deloitte study looked specifically at Gen Z and the millennials, and for them, it's a financial consideration. They see a lot of uncertainty out there, a lot of economic ups and downs. They've experienced some things with the Great Recession, saw what their parents went through. Very unstable, very uncertain ground for them. That's their big motivation, financial. Now, I'll tell you, by the way, just as an aside, great interview. I caught this last week. Del Walmsley, the founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, he had a guest on named Benjamin. And Benjamin is I guess he's Gen Z. He's 24 years old. He's already into his first couple of single-family rental houses. Good interview. Go to our website, lifestylesunlimited.com. Give that a listen. It's amazing just the way this young man was thinking. I was very, very impressed with it. Del, of course, as always, did a great interview. But I think you have a lot of takeaways if you are in that younger space. Age is no issue. Don't let that be a consideration for you. But finances may be. And a lot of the reasons why a lot of you out there are doing this is financial in nature. What other reasons might there be? We'll talk about that after a quick break.
Got questions? Call Lifestyles Unlimited at 855-497-4335. The Real Estate Investor Radio Show continues next.
People go, well, I don't know. It's going to crash. It's going to be better next year. I've got to listen to 4 more classes. I love guys come up to me all the time. I've been listening to you on the radio for 8 years now, right? I go, and you're not rich yet? Well, really, I'm thinking about joining next month. Do it now.
Learn the skills you need to retire with real estate in 5 years or less. Do it now. Register for the Lifestyles Unlimited free online workshop. LifestylesunlimitedWorkshop.com.
Creating the lifestyle you've always wanted. You're hearing Lifestyles Unlimited's Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Andy Webb, and we're taking a look at the side gig, the side job, the side hustle. Very trendy word out there these days, and a number of people have to do this out of necessity. About a third of the people that have side gigs have to do this to make ends meet. And I guess good for them for understanding and being able to put together a plan. You know, if you're in that situation, paycheck to paycheck, I hope you can get some resolutions out of this as well, perhaps. But people are still giving something up. Now, if it's a hobby, it's a passion, it's a creative outlet, you probably don't know this, or notice this, I should say, but for those that are doing this more for financial reasons, what are these side hustlers giving up? And none of these articles talks about this really, but they're giving up time. They're giving up time. They're now trading even more of their time on top of that 40-hour work week or 50, whatever it is. They're now trading time for money. They're trading that time with the family. They're trading time with friends. They're trading time that could be spent sleeping, health, maybe other opportunities. And in my view, they're giving up quite a lot. Just the time component alone is huge. As somebody that now has full control of his time, is coming to you from the woods, thinking about time, if my income is from my rental properties and that income is passive, am I giving up time? No, I just told you I'm not. So what have I been doing while I'm sitting out here in the RV bunker preparing the show? But from a rental perspective, not a lot. We're towards the start of the month, just checking that my rents are rolling in, and they are rolling in as they do. I had one minor maintenance request from a resident, got him to send me a picture, diagnosed what I thought needed to be done, sent it over to my handyman. Because I'm out here in the RV bunker, I don't need to go out and take care of that stuff. I don't do that anyhow. So it doesn't matter where I am. It doesn't matter when. I hand that off. Passive income. Now think back, and I named some numbers for you a moment ago that came out of the bank rate study. These were various bracketed buckets, people earning anywhere from $1 to $50 in a month, up to $1,001 to $2,000 and $2,000 and beyond. But the average dollar that they calculated out of all this was a monthly number of $810. So that's on average what the respondents to their survey are bringing home every month. And if I think back to single-family investing, what I love to do, now I'm an investor in apartments as well, but I'm going to start with the single-family side. I can get to that very number on 2 or 3 houses, maybe 4. We want to see a house come into our portfolio that cash flows anywhere between $200 and $600 per month. So every time I add a house to my portfolio, right, how many does it take to get to that 800? 2, 3, 4? So if you're focused from a financial perspective, like we saw some of the side hustlers are, on that discretionary income, boy, the sky's the limit here. It really is. Every time you add a house, you add another $200 to $600 per month. You don't have to stop at that average of $800. You don't have to stop at that max bucket that they looked at, $2,000 plus. You can keep going. In fact, it doesn't just stop with the discretionary income. If you keep building this portfolio, what you'll experience over time is that before you know it, you've replaced your income. Now you don't even need that job. And that's what happened to me. Main job, corporate job here, building up that portfolio of rental houses, got my wife retired from hers first, kept building, pulled in that extra income from the corporate job, kept putting that into play in houses and then apartments. And eventually Andy's retired as well. So that discretionary income, boy, that can become your entire income. And it's interesting, but we need to get you to move from this active side hustle and into passive income. It makes all the difference when you have your time back. What about the non-financial reason? Does the RE, the real estate space, does that fulfill any of those? Well, what did we talk about? We said hobby. A lot of people do their side gig because it, as a hobby. One big word of caution here. I see countless mom and pop rental property owners make big mistakes in this space because they treat it as a hobby. Do not do that. What about creative? Can you express some creative angles? Yeah, sure. You can be creative with the paint and the finish out when you go in to renovate one of those houses or those apartments. And in fact, it's very interesting to me, some of the creativity that our investors bring to bear. I had an interview with Alan and Laurel a few weeks ago now. They are syndicators. They are lead investors of apartments. And so they steer the deal, and people like myself invest passively. And they talked about some of the LED fireplaces that they're installing in lieu of the true fire-based fireplaces, getting rid of that fire risk. It's a creative angle. It's a creative aspect, and the creativity that's been brought to bear there is yielding more income for them and cutting risk. So there are places where you can get creative. Now, I would tell you as well, do you need to get overly creative? No. Do you need to have the house on the block that you've painted the exterior with the garish colors? No, don't do that. We want to have the product that mirrors those that are renting in our neighborhood. You know, when my wife and I early on started meeting with the first GCs that we engaged for our rehabs, the GC would ask us, well, what color are you thinking about? My wife always replied, you decide, you take control. She didn't want to get creative. This maybe is not the best place for that. Now, sometimes we do get creative when we go in and we see a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1-car garage house, and we look for ways to get creative with that footprint and add a second bath. Or if it's a 2-1, can I make it a 3-2? So there are certainly places where you can bring your creativity to bear. Just don't overdo it. Just don't overdo it. Now, the last angle I want to look at is that social piece of the puzzle. A lot of people we learned go for side gigs, side hustles, side jobs, just for the social aspect. I cannot think of a more social and gregarious network than the people I know through Lifestyles Unlimited. When I go to a case study, when I go to a road trip, when I go to the Wealth and Passive Income Expo, it's a huge network. Plenty of socializing. Now, if you're the introvert and that scares you, you don't have to do that. I would encourage you to get out of your shell. I had to do the same. I am introverted by nature, but that social outlet is there as well, and it's astonishing what you learn when you go to the events that we sponsor and when you meet people and when you have conversations. Going back to this being a business and not a hobby, you learn how to improve your business. You take away inspiration to keep you going. You learn some of those creative angles that those syndicators and others are bringing to bear and which are bearing fruit. But the social aspect is absolutely there. After case study, what do? Go out to one of the area restaurants. The conversation continues. I went to the 2-day financial freedom seminar recently. Well, we naturally went to lunch together on the break. And afterwards, if you had time, stick around for dinner. So lots from that social aspect. Now, the problem comes when you're listening to me now, and we looked at the 30 things you can do as a side gig per time.com. Real estate wasn't on there. Real estate's not in front of your mind. DoorDash, that's easy. You got a car. Airbnb, easy. I've got that spare bedroom. Just need to clear out that junk. All of this other stuff is very low-hanging fruit, and it's going to yield the results you're going to get when you explore that low-hanging fruit. Not much. It's going to put you in that $1 to $50 bucket. To get higher, you need to move into something that is more effective, and that's what real estate can be for you. But you have objections, and those objections are going to be based in fear, or due to a lack of knowledge. Just a quick story. So here I am out in the country, and in part I came out to meet with a local electrician. We've got the carport, the RV carport that sits over the bunker, and I wanted to have some conduit run some power out to the well pump, put that underground, do some other things. And his crew's out here, and one of the younger dudes, he's been watching me kind of puttering around, trimming trees, cutting back some of the overgrowth, digging around, digging here, doing stuff, random things. And he says, "What do you do for a living?" And I told him, I'm in real estate. I have rental property. I have passive income. And one of the other guys, another young guy, 24, he chimes in and he says, he's tried to talk his wife into getting some rental property, but she won't do it. She has these objections. And most people that I talk to about this very path do have objections, reasons why they can't do this either. No money. And that can be a legitimate issue. But it is something you can work on, and it is something you can work towards. You can explore those other sources of capital that you may not have thought about. Again, the equity in your house. I don't want to have to deal with tenants. What if I get that midnight call about a clogged toilet? That's where education comes to bear. First of all, you learn the truths about this business. And if you're a good operator, none of this stuff is an issue. You hear all of the bad angles, all of the things that those mom and pops that treat this as a hobby have experienced because they do not run a good process. They do not run it as a business. You hear those stories, those nightmares. They are out there because these people are not operating well. You get an education, you learn the truths, you learn the processes to make you a good operator, you learn the model. And at Lifestyles Unlimited, we have a very specific model that we follow, and it's engendered in the phrase, best product, best price gives the best people. So we're going to go out, whether it's houses or apartments, we're going to find a distressed asset that needs some work. And I love houses that need a ton of work because I'm going to go in, I'm going to replace everything, and I'm going to put in everything new. I'm going to make it the best product in that sub-market. I'm going to look at the comps in the area and see what other things are selling for because I want to target those. I'm going to see what the comparative houses are leasing for, and I want to target those and maybe make it a notch higher. Best product, best price. Now, I'm not going to necessarily try to push the market. I might come in a little under market. And those two in tandem are going to yield me the best people. I never have a problem leasing my houses. And to be honest with you, I don't have to lease them up all that often because of the product, because of the way we operate, because of the price. Our residents, they stick around. So best product, best price yields the best people. And to the notion of no money, not enough money, because we are buying right, because we are buying distressed assets, we are buying at a discount, right? I'm not going to go into the process of using hard money, but it's a type of creative financing that we use to get the house rehabbed, borrow the funds for that, refinance into 30-year debt, and you're just through the process, your out-of-pocket can be far, far lower than you may have ever thought. So we can address some of these concerns, and through the education, we'll certainly address those fears. Help you realize that those are not realistic. False evidence appearing real. That's the acronym FEAR. Now, what does a real estate side hustle look like? Well, it starts with that education. Financial Freedom Program membership. With that, you go to the 2-day Financial Freedom Seminar, talk all about houses, single family on day 1, all about apartments on day 2, figure out your direction, which is right for me. And you get out to case studies, you learn more about real numbers from real people. You can do this virtually. You don't have to spend a lot of time driving down to the offices. You can do this online, by the way. And you go out to road trips, single family road trips, multifamily road trips. Again, this is just another angle of the education. There's a lot of stuff online you can do. And then you go out and you get that first investment or multiple investments. And then you wash, you rinse, and you repeat. And over the years, you add more houses to your portfolio. And before you know it, that side gig, that side hustle, well, really, real estate is a side hustle without the hustle. A little bit at the start, as you go through that education, as you build up your network, as you go to a lot of events. But once you've built up that passive income, that hustle disappears. Real estate investing really is, it's the side hustle without the hustle. Now for you, it takes an education. It takes getting started. If you want to learn more, go to lifestylesunlimited.com. There's a button where you can register for the free workshop. If you're interested in jumping in even deeper, I mentioned the Financial Freedom Program. You can go to a website, givemetotalfreedom.com, and use the promo code SAVEBIG, all caps, SAVEBIG, to join. You'll get a big discount to your membership, and you can start going to that 2-day Financial Freedom Seminar. Again, I just went out to this again recently, and it was interesting to watch the other people in the crowd that were there for the first time as the truths came down and the fear was pulled away, and they started to understand how this is the optimal, the most effective way to go. Again, go to lifestylesunlimited.com to learn more. Hey, get out there, have a great day. I thank you for listening today, but remember, it's not the money, it's the lifestyle.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the host, guests, and callers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.